This is the John Henry book by Julius Lester, pictures by Jerry Pinkney, and it is a Caldecott honor book. Okay, so this is a dust jacket over a case laminate, and then we have the description on the front panel. We have the pricing, we have the publisher information, the ISBN number. Okay, on the back flap, we have the author bio and the artist bio without pictures. We also have the printed location. I'm not quite sure what this is, but this printed location is often on the dust jacket as well, because you can print the dust jacket separately from when you actually print the book. If you need to order more dust jackets, or maybe you originally didn't have a dust jacket and you want to add one, that can be used. Okay, so these are end sheets, an uncoated thicker paper. I love this chocolate that they used. And then instead of a title page, we just have this image here, which there's all kinds of different ways that this can be addressed. This is how they chose to address it, so that they could get a full spread here on the title page. Now, in some books, you'll see that this could be a custom printed end sheet, and then this would be the first page of the book block, and so you could still get this effect, but this is the setup this designer chose for this book, so that is why we have it. But there's lots of different ways to tackle this. Okay, so we have the title page. Again, we have publisher logo with just title, author name, illustrator name. We also have not just the publisher logo, but the publisher location. Then we open it up. Now, because this is a biographical book, or tale, sorry, my cat was distracting me. Most of your picture books are not going to start with text like this. But they wanted to, since this is a well-known tale, they wanted to address this up front. Yes. And so I've done some research on this over the years, because this was actually published in 94. And so it was just interesting, a rabbit trail to go down if you research, was John Henry a real person or not. So I called it a biographical tale, but it's, or a biographical book, but it's not a biography, because they did not know if he existed. But I also want to point out over here that just things that catch my attention when I look at the copyright page. It is extremely common for there to have your dedication on your copyright page as well. And so then you also, what I thought was, find interesting, is this didn't get filled out, the number of pages and then the centimeter, or the measurements of the book. So sometimes it goes to print without that having been filled out. I also like when it lists how the artwork was created. This full color artwork was prepared using colored pencils and watercolor. Okay, so I just love this little section. It tells you so much about the book. And then we get into the layout. Okay, so here we have the layout of single page art on the left in a frame. The border goes around all pages, and then we have an inset illustration here. It's not a spot illustration because it has a hard background. It has a frame around it, so it's not a spot illustration. Ooh, gotta move, Timmy. Okay, so then we have this 3/4. Well, this is what I wanted to show as well. This is Smith sewn, like you can see, but it's just not laying as flat as some of my other Smith sewn books, like, oh, let me grab this. See how like this one lays, you know, it's pretty flat. So, which, you know, this was an older book from '94, and everybody is always making progress. Hopefully, that's the goal, right? And so, it may have just been how they did the spine here. Maybe they used too thick of a board in the spine back. Not sure. I mean, it still lays pretty flat, but you can see it, you know, like if these two pages were open, that this line would be, well, in a line. But here you have this jag, right? Okay. So this is a 3/4 layout. We still have frame and then second frame. The frame around the art, frame around the spread. And we're using the same white frame on each of the arts so far. Okay. So same layout here. Okay. All right, now we have landscape. Okay, and again, this is why we want to keep anything important out of this spread here. And then just looking at the text. Okay, so he is breaking text mid-paragraph like this. Okay, it's balanced though, you see, so it doesn't. I'm curious to see if he's going to do it on future books. Talk to me. Okay, so we keep going. Again, main character is clear of the gutter. Faces are clear of the gutter. Okay. Okay, so now we're switching. So I have done this in other books. Like, I'm just curious. Okay, it doesn't look like what I'm evaluating is he doing this layout? Oh, you know what? I think why he's doing, well, one reason why he could be doing this layout is because if this image was reversed, then John Henry would be kind of lost in the gutter, right? But if we flip it this way, he's over here, and he's clear of the gutter. He's the center of attention on this page. So I think it was more of an art decision than a like a, what's that word? Like, I use it sometimes to lead the eye, or like the conflict. If the conflict switches, or we have reached the climax, pre-climax text is on the left, post-climax is on the right. So I do things like that sometimes. Okay, Timo, gotta move. Okay, so, all right, so then we're back here to single page. Now, this is probably because this was a lot of text, and it would have been so crowded, because if we look also, this is interesting. Okay, so they centered the text here. So they did center it within this part here. Okay, but they're not using the same margins, right? Like they're using margins here, but not, they're using different margins here. Okay. All right. Okay, so now we have wordless art. And so we can just see how big this mountain is that John Henry has to get through. Always one of my favorite tales as a kid. Tall tale. So while the artist does have, you know, we can allow the artist to choose to some extent right, the style of layout, but we need to know, no, Timmy, we need to know is, like, we definitely need to look at how much text is on the page, because this really needed to be a single page here, because this would have been so much. Well, you can't break this text. I guess you could break it kind of evenly. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. There's 20 lines. So this could have been broken 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. It would have created this widow on the next page, though. Yeah. So anyway, I do think like some guidance is necessary. But when you're working with an artist of a high caliber, they're going to be aware of these things too, and they may have a different vision for how if they want to do a 3/4 or a single page or a landscape. So it is all about communication and making sure we don't have to redo anything. We want our time to be spent well. And so I do love a good wordless art spread. This really makes the impact here. And then, okay, so we get back to the text. Okay, so here you have them center and pretty much center here. So out of the gutter, his arm is the center point. Okay, and then here we go toward the end. Okay, and then it ends on a single page. So again, it could have been, like we could have done custom printed in sheet, and we could have printed brown paper so that this could have been art, but this was an existing cardstock that was already brown, right? They didn't, I do not believe this was printed. They probably just pulled it from stock that they had, which is the way some printers work as well. Okay. And then we have this on the back, which matches this on the back. And they do have barcode on both the case laminate and the dust jacket. Again, not always. If you look at other traditionally published books, you'll see things like copyright pages, barcodes, flaps. It's all like, there's no one set way to do things, although there are parameters for how things get done. All right. See you later, John Henry.